I feel like we might end up having a whole series dedicated just to the underrated artists. Unfortunately, one of the current kings of the underrated are Everything. A four-piece band originally from Manchester, UK, who recently have released their fourth studio album, A Fever Dream, arguably their best record to date. I remember the release of Get to Heaven back in 2015. Great music release this year, by the way. And the band telling that they mostly got inspired by the awful events and the overall chaos of 2014, which was indeed quite a strange time. Then came 2016 and this year 2017, and you could have already guessed what kind of narrative comes with this album, Fever Dream. Even its brilliant eerie cover or the title kind of gave that away. If on Get to Heaven we had some clear upbeat pop moments, here on this one I can't recall anything particularly that bright. That doesn't mean this album is full of sadness, gloom, anger and disappointment. No, it's absolutely not. Fever Dream sounds like a very accurate end of times last dinner soundtrack. Like, imagine seeing all the horrific events occurring around you, seeing the world you live in, crawling into the endless doom, you 100% sure of the end. Kind of like the end of the world in 2012, but it's actually happening. And instead of panicking because you're so used and so fed up with all the madness which is your surroundings, instead of bursting into tears and trying to cope with a sense of grief, you start almost mocking the situation and trying to look at a bigger picture and even make a satire out of it, kind of like a faceless narrator calmly watching over the planet destroy itself. Yeah, this is a bit fucked up, and A Fever Dream, in my opinion, perfectly fits to this picture. Though purely from the sound of the album, you can start to question it. The thing is that Everything are masters of colliding extremely harsh, heartbreaking, or controversial topics with on-the-edge various pop music palettes. Same with lyrics and vocal delivery. Jonathan Higgs, one of the masterminds of the collective, knows exactly how to make you realize, how to move, you know, Reptiles track still does that, and also how not to make you completely horrified by what the band is trying to showcase through their songs. Honestly, the techniques he uses, whether it's his vocals or his lyrics, seem always kind of genius to me. On this album, the perfect example lyrically would probably be Big Game track, which to be honest is not my ultimate favorite on this album, but I endlessly appreciate how Higgs puts all those childish phrases to talk about something much more adult. This was, of course, intentional. Coming back to the sound of the record, I really do like how it went somewhere in between their sophomore arc and Get to Heaven. And I've noticed that I tend to like more chaotic and heavier moments on A Fever Dream, rather than more simple and poppier tunes of it. That actually made me want to re-listen to Arc more carefully, more attentive, and try to see it from a totally different perspective. I do still like purely pop tracks from this band though, because they're so good at it. Take Can Do, for example, the very first single from this album. It's perfect at its synth rave and heavenly danceable chorus, which is obviously brings you back to bangers like Distant Past. The opener track, Night of the Long Knives, take different elements to make it poppy in the verses, but the breathless choruses of it come from a totally different place. And this track ends up reminding me of Free Falling into the Abyss rather than Killing Your Feet at a dance floor. But we all agree that it still is pop music, and I just love how varied this band can sound. Desire is also an interesting one. It's not stripped down, minimalist or anything like that, but it still sounds and feels like the most simple one from the track list. And I'm not hating it, probably because it was one of the pre-release singles and I've listened to it countless times before the album came out, but I can say that this is a great festival track. We've ourselves, Meanwhile on the Stage, witnessed them playing it live, Desire live, last month at the music festival, and this was amazing. This track plus their live energy is everything. It's so good. I feel like Run the Numbers track tries to take similar path, but it's not as bright till that heavy riffed guitar comes up, which I do love a lot. This instrumental chaos throughout the album gives me life. It sounds really good. good. All props to the band and their skills, of course, but also to James Ford, the main producer of the record, who continue to surprise me every year with all the records he puts his hand on. I feel like this album also requires more attentive, repeat listen, which reminded me a lot of A Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead. Even sonically it could come up with tracks like Put Me Together or New Deep. I'm not saying that they've got inspired by the band or that it's necessarily sound like Radiohead, but every listen I always catch those similarities between these two songs and distinctive sounds and vocal tricks Radiohead use on their albums, especially the last one. The title track is so beautiful, so amazing, and definitely one of the best singles Everything Everything has ever put out yet. It also sounds very different from what I've expected from the band, so to me it seems like an experiment, a very successful experiment. It perfectly captures the mood of the record. It adds this electronic subtle flow, though still heavily rooted onto that catchy piano melody, Jonathan repeating the same lines over and over again as a mantra and bursting by the climax of the track. It's fantastic from start to finish. Same with the perky Ivory Tower track, which hearing them perform live at this festival last month made us anticipate this album like crazy. It's such a great and catchy song. It has a more classic structure, some recognizable instrumental choices including the weird simple mash in the bridge, but it still sounds very different, very out there, especially thanks to those lyrics and that out of nowhere wild guitar solo by the end. The closer, White Whale, is not really your expectable closing track in my opinion, and surprisingly it brings additional level of narrative to the whole album, which I again couldn't have imagined hearing from Everything Everything before. Besides all the horrors and all the glooms of our geopolitical state, there's a place for personal struggles and human interconnections. The closer track is indeed a first Everything Everything pure love song, a sort of glimpse to someone's personal world while the other world, the big world, ends on the background. It's a very beautiful track. The instrumental of it and how they've mixed Hicks' vocals. It sounds almost cosmic or even divine, and I love it. It's a great ending to this fever dream. In the end, I can say that I was definitely surprised with Everything Everything's new studio album. Not once or not even twice, so it's very impressive, considering it's their fourth output. I like how conceptual this record sounds. There's a definite style to it. Even some wordless story or vision, and I'm all for it. I love how this four continue to push the limits and explore their abilities further, yet staying true to themselves and quite recognizable for all the fans of their hit songs. Everything Everything are masters of their craft, and they're definitely like game changers of alternative or art pop. If you're still not on a bandwagon, I don't know what you're waiting for. You are totally missing out on everything, like literally Everything Everything. What do you guys think about the Nightmare, which is Fever Dream? In a good way, of course. We like this record a lot and are really interested to know what do you guys think about it. So let us know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and to share this video with everyone you know. Also, you can subscribe to our channel to see more stuff from us and follow us on all the social media we have. Summer 2017 is almost officially over, and we are not sad at all. We are actually extremely excited for all the amazing things to come and to wear our cool fall clothes. That's pretty cool. I love layering clothes, don't you? Anyway, stay cool, enjoy the last sunny days, skateboard, and listen to some great albums. Peace out.